A special welcome to those who are joining us after morning prayer, and also to others who may be joining at other times. The passages from which this meditation arises are Isaiah chapter 25, Matthew chapter 12, and Psalm number 50. I'd like to begin with an invocation. O source of all, we humbly approach you this day, asking that our meditation practice may draw us ever closer to realization of your nature. So let us deepen our attunement. Feeling the weight of our bodies on seat or floor. Being aware of being rooted deeply in Mother Earth. Taking deep breaths of her renewing energy and breathing out the preoccupations of the day or the week, past and to come. And being here now in the present moment, wonderful moment, aware of the light of spirit around and within us. The passage from Isaiah is a meditation on all that the divine being has done for his people, all his care, her care, all the many ways in which human beings are dependent on something or someone greater than themselves, and in whom they need to trust. Perhaps the piling up of all the things to be grateful for was a way of encouraging that deep inner trust. And the second passage from the New Testament, in which Jesus is rebuked for performing miracles, for performing healings on the Sabbath day, and the disciples for doing the work of picking some corn to eat. In that passage, there occurs a statement by Jesus which may hint at an even deeper reason for that deep trust. He says, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. What he's saying is, whatever rules, laws human beings make, whatever attributes they give to the divine, the Son of Man, Jesus, is always greater. In other words, Jesus can break the rules when he sees a need. This is a situation which perhaps sometimes occurs for us when we are following a certain way of behaving, belonging to some organization that has its rules, many things that we are involved in our lives. And we come to a point where we feel deeply that a rule must be broken for the sake of the greater good. Now, I ask you to spend a few moments now calling to mind an occasion when you had to do something like that and how it turned out. So we see in the stories in Matthew and in other places, Jesus' compassion for the needs of his disciples and the suffering of other followers is greater than his need to follow the rules of the temple, although he was, we know, a practicing Jew. And when you broke whatever rule you broke, you did it perhaps because you moved from the mind and acted from the heart. And so often in our lives, our minds make complications, but our hearts cut through to the gist of the matter, the core of the matter. What would love do now is a reflection on just such moments. But for me, Jesus' words can be taken much further. They reminded me of the call that echoes round the world these days. Allah, O Akbar. These may strike fear into our hearts because of their association with terrible acts of terror by fanatics. But as no doubt you will know, they mean God is great. A Turkish Muslim friend of mine, however, told me that the actual meaning of the phrase is God is greater. And that is hard for a person of any faith to disagree with. God is greater. Whatever we humans make laws about, have ideals of justice and virtue, God is greater. God is always greater than any image, idea, picture, story, greater than anything we can imagine, beyond all we can imagine. I'd like to guide a meditation practice which, focusing as in this morning's service on sound, can perhaps give us an experience of the meaning of God is greater. So now take 3 more long, deep breaths. drop even deeper into your heart of hearts. And listen. Listen first to your own body. Perhaps you can hear your heart beating. Perhaps there are sounds of digestive processes. Your breath. Just be aware of the sounds of your own body. Now widen your listening to include the sounds in the room where you are. Widen your listening still further to include the whole of the house or flat, the building in which your room rests. What sounds can you hear coming from beyond your room? Now extend your listening to encompass the street or the field where your house stands, to encompass any sounds outside your dwelling. Maybe traffic, maybe birds. Now shift from listening with your ears to listening in your imagination. Imagine you can hear all the sounds of the village or the town in which you live. People talking, children crying, televisions, radios blaring, music playing, rehearsals for concerts and plays. All the sounds you might find in the town or village where you live. Now extend your imagination to encompass all the sounds of Wales or England, the country in which you live. Now imagine the sounds rising from the whole of the UK and Europe, a mingling of languages, the sounds of seas and rivers. And now imagine that you're in a huge air balloon rising and rising higher and higher through the clouds into the blue yonder, and being able to look down upon the earth, the whole planet, hanging there in space, and imagine the sounds that emanate from the whole of the earth, rising into the atmosphere and reaching your ears in your balloon. And now in your magic balloon, move further and further out, away from the earth, into the galaxy, finding yourself among millions of stars. We are told from the Greeks onwards that there are sounds in the universe, the planets, and even the stars emit sound, the music of the spheres. So listen to the music of the spheres. Now move out from our galaxy to the millions of galaxies that astrophysicists tell us exist out there, beyond and beyond. God is greater than our most powerful imaginings. And yet, God is small enough to be found in your heart. So leave the universe beyond yourself and center once again in your own heart. The heart of the universe for you. Can you hear the still, small voice within? Let us close with a Native American proverb. Listen to the wind, it talks. Listen to the silence, it speaks. Listen to your heart, it knows. Thank you.